And you mentioned, I think, last podcast that the results on or the outlook on Jalen Hurts pretty decent right now, not because of anything you do in 7-on-7, but just like understanding the offense, knowing where you might want to go with the football, tightening up the delivery a little bit, which of course that part of it is much easier to look better in a 7-on-7 than in the game when the rush is coming at you. But from last year to this year, you want to see development. Feels like there's development.
Yeah, basically what we understand, during their entire program, his understanding of the offense is way better. Because it was all new to him, he had another offense last year he had to learn. I couldn't imagine. We're hearing Jason Campbell talk with us. You might remember Jason Campbell from our first rounder for Washington.
Sure.
About going from coach that schemes, all these different schemes. It's hard. It's just hard when you keep going back to high school. And before that, you're rarely in the same offense back to back. And I did see this. I mentioned this on our last show. And just to repeat it, folks, if you didn't see it or hear it, he made a throw that was terrific. He made a throw down the right rail where it was a timing throw. He put it to I wouldn't call it so much anticipation. It was just a spot throw. He wasn't making that throw much last year. Maybe the Kansas City game was the one game where he made a lot of spot throws. Just a great throw. The guy didn't catch it, but the ball was on time.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff you need to see. Like he apparently, from what we understand, he's been doing this a lot. That is major. And he hasn't even had a lot of work with A.J. Brown, his so-called best friend.
Right.
I don't think he worked with Brown. Was not with the team last week, right? Something like that.
No, with the OTA we were at, he was not there. Correct.
Yeah.
I think he wasn't there for a couple of days too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what I thought. So, they didn't get a ton of work this offseason, but they'll obviously do it big time in training camp. But the good thing is he's starting to understand where he's not thinking as much out there because it's more natural. And the timing, the getting the ball out at 2.5 seconds or 2.3, which is whatever the route calls for, his timing is way better. Now, you made a really good point on our last show, which we're someone I'm going to look for in training camp. The big issue he did not have a good training camp last year, very up and down, to be kind. The big issue for him is bailing. Don't bail. Stay in there. This is what you pointed out to me when we were at practice last week. Right. I'm glad you mentioned it on our show on Thursday. He has a tendency to bail when he doesn't like what he sees. No, stay in there. Only run when it's not there. When you're convinced 1, 2, and 3 are not there, then bail.
Right. Especially I want people to understand. We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
Because you're not rushed. Nobody can hit you in practice. So if that's something you have to work on, there's no sense in leaving the pocket. Just continue to work on staying there and trying to find your guy. Right. No, I just want to say that because I don't want people to think we're advocating that he can't do that in a game now or something. We're not trying to take away his strength. We're just talking about practice, working on that.
Right. And again, in 7-on-7s, the way the Eagles do, there's zero pass rush, untimed. You could take 20 seconds. Obviously, they don't want you to do that, to run it out in 3 seconds. But within 3 seconds, quite frankly, most plays are not. They're no longer than 2.7. It's typically the longest you want on a 7-step drop. But the fact of the matter is, his sense of timing and know where the progression is much better, and that is really important. I cannot wait to get to training camp to see this.
Yep,
because that's when you know he's growing in this offense and it's growing this understanding. Because now with Goddard, and we'll get to Goddard in a couple minutes, we've got some good stuff on him. With Smith, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown, and Quez Watkins, and Zach Pascal, who knows this offense because he played in it, or most of it he's played in before because he knows it's the one Sirianni is running is not quite Frank Reich's offense. It's a combination of a couple schemes, but he knows the offense. And then you've got Goddard. I mean, this is a pretty good pass target group. Guys will get open. They have guys who could run, the guys who could be physical. This is a pretty diverse pass target group here. So if he's got his timing down, the Eagles are going to score this year.
I think that the area that his improvement, if it's there for the regular season, would lead to overall team improvement is in run after catch and yards after catch, because that's where A.J. Brown specializes, especially run after catch, and Dallas Goedert, yards after contact. I mean, he's great at making that catch in traffic, shedding a few tackles, getting up north on the field. And even Devontae Smith, and I know this is going to sound like heresy to some people, but if Jalen Reagor's on the team and out there practicing, that if he can catch the ball and they can put it in his hands, 3 or 4 times in open space, he's got that ability as well. It just, we haven't seen it nearly consistently enough, but there actually have been some spurts. I think people forget Jalen Reagor had a couple of touchdowns last year.
Yeah, year
right?
one.
Yeah.
Really, year one, though. Yeah.
Definitely more year one. But I'm saying he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns last year, I think. But
I have no idea.
Either way, it can happen. And so, and the big emphasis with Jalen is he doesn't have to be Drew Brees for this to be a good team. And he doesn't have to, not every single throw has to be like premeditated and spot on and thrown with anticipation. He just has to improve in that area because he has great other natural talents that Drew Brees doesn't have, like the ability to get out of the pocket and make plays.